Hello and welcome to NIFA's webinar series. My name is Stacy Fatinos and I am the Homeownership Operations Manager at NIFA. With me today is Micheline Henning, and she is one of our compliance file reviewers. Today's webinar focuses on submitting the pre-closing package and having success with that submission. I am going to pass control of the webinar to Mish now. She is going to walk you through submitting the perfect file and having pre-closing file submission success. I will be back at the end of the presentation to offer some closing remarks.
With every NIFA file, you have a NIFA submission checklist. The key to success in a NIFA pre-closing package begins with the checklist. Please provide your contact information for review notifications. We will send out a courtesy file review once we have reviewed your file to the email provided on the checklist. Please, if possible, submit the file package in checklist order, which makes it a lot easier for us to review the files. With our pre-reviews, we do require income documentation. NIFA programs are all income-based. Are income-based, and without the inclusion of all documentation, it eliminates the effectiveness of our review. I'm sure some of you have noticed that without all the income documentations, we actually are not looking at your files at this point. So please make sure you include all income documentation. This is just a quick checklist on the income documentation we require. For occupying borrowers, non-purchasing spouse, and non-purchasing occupants, we require a written VOE and asset verifications for occupying borrowers and non-purchasing spouses. We do not need asset information on non-purchasing occupants. The written VOE must be within 30 days of closing, as well as the pay stubs. Income from assets is only included when the total of the value is over $5,000, but we do include all income sources or all asset sources, so please make sure you include all asset documentation. With the employment, we require 30-day consecutive pay stubs for a full-time job, part-time job. We also review asset accounts connected to payrolls, so if you see a direct deposit, we're going to ask for that account. The income, again, must be written VOEs, no verbals, and then we require a termination VOE if the 1003 does not reflect a start and end date for any employment dates. Just other miscellaneous income documentation is we also look at the most 3 years tax returns. Tax returns must be signed with signatures. We also look for child support, spousal support, Social Security award letters, and year-to-date profit and loss if the person is self-employed. With asset documentation, we look at deposit account statements, checking and savings, any retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, health savings accounts, and stock accounts. As stated before, we do require 3 years of tax returns. Only of the federal returns, we do not need state returns, but tax returns must be signed by the borrower, the co-borrower, and the non-purchasing spouse. We also take tax transcripts in lieu of returns, and those do not require signatures. So it's kind of a quick way if you don't want to get your tax returns signed. A side note on this is we only need one or the other. We do not need both. So if you send returns, we don't need the transcripts. If you send transcripts, we do not need the returns. NIFA program documents, we make sure that they're all complete. The borrower's names are reflected correctly. Is the loan amount correct? Is the property address correct? Is the household size correct? Are all asset documents identified? Is the recapture tax correctly calculated? And is everything signed appropriately? With the initial application, we make sure that the loan amount is correct, that the interest rate is correct, and that you are using also the correct program. Is the property address correct? All employment data is complete. Any previous jobs with start or end dates? If no, we do need termination VOEs. And did the loan officer sign the 1003? With any NIFA file, we do require homebuyer education, and that is now required in the pre-closing package. These are our 4 acceptable homebuyer education classes at this time. As you noticed, MGIC is no longer one of our providers. We are still getting a few certificates for them, so make sure you only use these 4 providers. And the certificate must be dated within a year of closing. All occupying borrowers must complete this buyer education class, and it must be included with the pre-closing package for approval. We also review the findings, and we make sure that it reflects the correct property address, the correct loan terms, and you have an approved status and are the ratios within NIFA guidelines. The purchase agreement, we actually make sure it is fully executed with borrower and seller's signatures, as well as all the addendums. With FHAs and VAs, please make sure you're including that FHA or VA addendum, because we will suspend or we will condition for that if we do not have that in the file. We also now require the title commitment, and we make sure that only the borrowers that are supposed to be taking title take title. We look for any title holders that are not on the loan, and if so, if you're including the income documentation for additional title holders. Have co-signers been removed from title, because co-signers may not take title, and we make sure that the title commitment is all ready to go for closing. Summary for success is please provide your contact information, check the accuracy and completeness of the file and program documents, verify that all income and all asset documentation is included, verify all necessary signatures are present, review findings for accuracy, and please submit in checklist order for an expedited review. On a side note, please just read and follow that checklist. If you read and follow the checklist, your file should be complete and accurate. If it's not on the checklist, don't send it, but send everything on that checklist and you guys should be set.
Okay, thank you, Mish. Once again, thank you for joining Mish and I for today's presentation. As always, our team is available for questions. The homeownership team members include Susan Lauver, Shelley Abraham, Micheline Henning, myself, and Jackie Young. We can be reached at the phone number listed on this slide at 402-434-3900, or you can reach any of us by email at homeownership@nifa.org. We do appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for joining in our presentation, and have a great day.